Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing Not So Perfect Strangers, written by LS Stratton. It's a thriller, and it's based on the same premise as Strangers on a Train, where you have two people on a chance encounter who hatch a plan. In this book, as two women, they meet by chance, and they learn they have similar circumstances. Their husbands are abusive but in different ways. One of the women comes up with a plan, but the second woman gives an ambiguous answer. So it's not a definite answer, but that leaves the first woman to take it as a yes, and things progress from there. So it is a thriller. There are some good moments in this book, but there are also a lot of moments where it just lets down the story. So it's a mixture for me. The start of the book is a great hook. That first chapter is amazing, and if the entire book had that same tone, that same atmosphere as the first chapter, this book would have been amazing. Unfortunately, it doesn't. But at the start of the book, we have Tasha, one of our main characters, and she's running away from a house, and this house is on fire. And in her mind, she's saying, "Guilty people, run." And we assume then that she's done something, and then she confirms that, because when the police arrive on the scene, she admits that she set the fire. She admits that she's guilty. And that cuts off that first moment in the book. Then we're back in the past, and we're back to when the two main characters, Tasha and Madison, first meet. And then everything that leads on from that meeting up to the fire, up to the house fire. So when they first meet, we have Madison. Madison at some big event. She's obviously quite wealthy. The event is full of powerful people, rich people. She's dressed in very expensive clothes, and she's looking for a husband. She can't find her husband. He's been missing for about 20 minutes or so. She finds her husband talking to a few other gentlemen at this party, and then a young girl walks up, and she sees interactions between the husband and this young woman, and she thinks from that her husband's having an affair. And it's shocking to her, but it also makes sense, because when she first met her husband, he was already married, and she was having an affair with him, and she thinks that this is just the past coming back to bite her a bit, that's happening to her. And of course, she's not happy. And then we switch to Tasha. Tasha is on the run a bit. She's got a plan. She's escaping her husband, and she has her teenage son with her. She's heading off somewhere to make a new life. She's had this plan, and she's setting it in motion. Unfortunately, her teenage son doesn't agree with that plan, and he runs off. He runs back to their home, runs back to his father, and she decides she has to go back as well. She can't leave her son alone with her husband. So she's heading back to the house where she was escaped from, and that's where she meets up with Madison. Madison has a fight with her husband outside the party and runs off. She runs off for some reason. She wants to do something wild, something reckless, and she sees a car at an intersection, and she runs to that car, bangs on the window, and there's a woman inside, and that woman is Tasha. Tasha lets her in, and then they start to talk a bit, and Madison gives her a destination to go back to. And as they're talking, Tasha thinks, okay, this woman is like her. She's in an abusive relationship. And so they form a bit of a bond in that brief time they're together. It's a very chance meeting, but they feel like they're kindred spirits in a way. Later on, Madison reaches out to Tasha and invites her to lunch to say thank you for helping her that night. But Madison has ulterior motives. Tasha's not aware of them yet, but soon she learns of Madison's idea, Madison's scheme. Madison proposes that they each do away with the other's problem. So I won't spell out what that is, but you can assume what that means. Tasha is shocked. She doesn't know what to think. So even though she dislikes her husband, even though she's afraid of her husband, that she's afraid of the situation she's in at home, she's not a person who would come to that decision to do what Madison suggests. So she gives a response that's ambiguous, that's not a confirmation that she wants to go ahead with this plan. But Madison takes it as a confirmation, and Madison sets in motion the part of her plan. She's going to go ahead and fix Tasha's problem for her. So I won't go into the plot anymore, so you can understand what happens, part of the plot, and then it follows from there. But I will say that the best parts in this book are the first chapter and the conclusion. The first chapter's amazing. That atmosphere, the tone of the first chapter is just spot on. It's perfect. And the conclusion, there are some twists in there that are very shocking, a few of them. Unfortunately, most of the twists in this book happen at the end. And I'm not a big fan of books that wait till the end for all the twists. I prefer twists to happen all through the book. Because in my opinion, when twists are all through the book, it's a sign of a better writer. The writer has more control of the story. The writer's able to give us bits and pieces of a story and give us twists and turns as the story progresses, rather than wait to the end to push all the twists in one moment. So the twists are at the end, but they're good twists and they're shocking and they're very powerful twists in my opinion. But the rest of the book is a bit of a letdown. There are some good moments in there, some powerful moments, and Madison and Tasha are fairly powerful characters. But in my opinion, there should have been more about Tasha and Madison facing off against each other. It doesn't have to be in person in the book. There can be more plots and schemes, more trying to get one up on the other person throughout the book, and it doesn't happen often enough in this story. And in that way, it takes away some of the tension between them, because the main tension in this book is between Tasha and Madison. That's what the author's trying to portray anyway in the story. The author also includes social commentary in this book, and that centers around gender and race equality. Now, I don't think I'm qualified to comment on a lot of that in the book, especially the situation as it may be in the United States. But I will say that I felt it was portrayed in a little bit of a cliche way. I don't mind social commentary in books. I think there should be more of it, and should be more of it across different genres. I think social commentary is missing a lot in certain genres, and I think more books that use that as a theme, it's only for the better, I think, because it may just get people thinking about things in different ways. But in this book, it just felt a little bit cliche. Tasha is a very powerful character in the book, and she feels very real. Those moments where she's stuck in her marriage, where you feel her fear, you feel her tension, that comes through so strongly in this character. You get behind her and you engage with Tasha in those moments. Other moments in the book, you don't engage with her so much. Well, I didn't anyway. I pulled out of Tasha a little bit when she was doing something in the book time and time again and expecting different results. And it was the exact same thing that she was doing over and over again, maybe in a different building, maybe to a different person, but it was the same thing. And when I read that, I wondered, what's the purpose of that? Is it trying to drive the plot forward, or is there a different purpose for that? What's the author trying to convey in those moments? And it felt a bit strange to me. And it just felt like, that saying, do something over and over again and expect different results is one of the first signs of insanity. That's what it felt like in this book. This character was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And just knowing those results weren't going to happen. It was going to be the same result every time. So that made me wonder about the motives of that in this book. Madison, the other main character in this story, she's a very well-developed character, the most well-developed character in the book, because we get more of her past. So for that reason, Madison is a good character. But there are other moments in the book where we have just pages of description about her being over-pampered, and it felt a bit heavy-handed and overdone. And when that was going on in the book, it pulled me out of the Madison character, and actually pulled me out of the story altogether, and reduced the tension for me, reduced that tension that's meant to be building up in a thriller. So I thought that was strange, and I wondered why that was there. I wondered why the author was just making a big deal of the Madison character being over-pampered and concentrating on that so often. So another strange choice for character in this book. Cordell is Tasha's husband. Now, he's a very powerful character and he feels very real. He's actually a standout in this book, but a standout for all the wrong reasons, for all the wrong character traits anyway. but he stands out so much because he feels so real. His actions just feel real. He feels so unstable and unpredictable, and in that way he makes a very powerful and impactful character. I enjoyed Cordell in the book not for who he was and what he represented, but I enjoyed him because he felt very real, very chilling, and very gripping. You can actually picture Cordell in the book, so the author created a great character in Cordell. This book is a bit of a mixed bag for me. There are some good moments, some great moments, especially the first chapter and the conclusion. The first chapter was amazing, just brilliant. The conclusion, not as brilliant, but still amazing. The rest of the book is just up and down for me. There are good moments, there are good character traits, there are bad character traits, there are decisions the authors made in the book that just felt out of place and pulled me out of the story too much. I rate this a 3 out of 5, despite the fact I don't think this is an amazing book. I think this book will appeal to many people. It will appeal because of some of the social commentary. It will appeal because we've got 2 female characters that come across very strong. Even though they're in situations that can rip away that strength, they're still very strong characters. So for those reasons, I think this book will appeal to a lot of readers. On my channel, I do review many thrillers. If you like thrillers, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a thriller playlist on my channel, it should be on your screen now.